Hey guys, welcome to the Rideshare Report. Mike Dean in the house, and you're my guest. Thanks for joining me for another fantastic day in Rideshare Land. Or in this case, food delivery land. Yes, I think you've heard it. You've seen the title. Yes, it's true. Uber is introducing surge pricing into their on-demand food delivery platform, Uber Eats. You'll get that same surge, for the most part, that you get and that you love so much for UberX and Uber pool rides. That's right. You'll get the same deal, guys. You'll be guaranteed that some driver out there will be looking at their app while laying in bed and watching Mad Men, noticing that it's a 1.5 surge, so they're going to get out there and get your food delivered to your house while you're watching Mad Men as well. So, of course, that's the whole point of surge pricing, right? Is to encourage drivers, and in this case, delivery drivers, to get out there and to satisfy that ever so increasing great demand. That is actually happening with Uber Eats. Uber Eats is growing like fire, guys. It's like a freaking fire out of control. I've been just monitoring Uber Eats as a driver, as a customer, and I got to tell you that it is just blowing up. Uber is just got it, man. I got to tell you, they got it. Watch out, DoorDash, Postmates, Caviar, and the rest of those, because when I'm out there doing my Uber Eats deliveries, I see like about 6, 7, 8 Uber Eats drivers and just a scattered few of the other guys. It looks like a lot of restaurants and venues are adopting to the Uber Eats concept, and it's just blowing out the water, man. It's just blowing out. But speaking of blowing out the water, while the demand is really great, the supply is kind of lacking. There's just not enough drivers out there to meet the demand, this new, ongoing, consistent, growing demand. So Uber's doing everything they can to incentivize drivers. I'll get into that in a second. But let's focus on this wonderful new addition to the cost of delivery. As we know, it's $4.99 for every delivery that a customer puts in for an Uber Eats order. That's not bad. I mean, that's reasonable. That's doable. I mean, it's on demand, delivered to your house. You know, the driver might even run up the 23 stories of steps to make sure that you get it. Of course, as you know, tips are not included in the delivery, and it's an option for, customers to kind of, go out of their way, dig really deep in their pocket and pull out $1 just to show some love. But again, tips are not included, but they aren't required as well. So, what's going on? I mean, why is Uber, introducing surge pricing into food delivery? I mean, this could set a wicked precedent for the rest of the on-demand community, including TaskRabbit or Airbnb or the DoorDashes, the Postmates, the Caviars, and the rest of those guys. I mean, if Uber's going to do it, everybody else might as well. I mean, it's about supply and demand, right? So, if your supply is lacking, and the demand is up, you got to surge it, baby. That's what it's all about. Let's just go ahead and just read. This is out of TechCrunch. Uber Eats customers already have blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read that part. In a blog post entitled Delivery at Uber Speed when it's busy. Okay, the company announces today that surge pricing would hit select cities. Now, let's go to Uber Newsroom. Get out of TechCrunch for a minute. Thanks, Tech. And let's check out what Uber has to say about this. And I got to tell you, it doesn't really mention anything with regards to surge pricing. It does mention fees, but I'm pretty much sure it is going to be somewhat of a surge algorithm and or kind of calculated additional fee. So in 43 cities across the globe, people are using Uber Eats, blah, blah, blah. It's a fast, reliable way to get favorite food delivered in minutes, 15 to 30 minutes. That's what they're referring to. And is getting out, and word is getting out, and we're seeing tremendous appetite across the world. This is true. I mean, this is definitely growing in the San Francisco Bay Area. I would imagine it's growing throughout just about every state in the U.S. Uber Eats has really taken off. Again, they're in about almost 50 cities throughout the U.S. You can download the app and check the cities and availability in your area. In order to maintain speed, reliability, and selection, people have come to expect from Uber, of course, we depend on having delivery partners available in the right places at the right times. It's already sounding like surge pricing to me. I mean, that's pretty much the foundation. And even though more people are signing up for flexible ways to earn money every day, there are still times when there aren't enough delivery partners in a particular area to complete every delivery request at Uber speed. In other words, there's just not enough drivers and or delivery personnel out there. And it might have something to do with the value of the earnings. You know what I mean? Because I think if there was really good money to be made, drivers would be just flocking over there. Now, keep in mind, overall, I work as an Uber Eats driver as well as Uber X, and I've been testing it out here in San Francisco. And it's actually not that bad. And the reason why it's not that bad is because Uber is subsidizing the base earnings. The base earnings here in San Francisco is $3 base, the base fare rather, $3 base and $3 per mile. But if you just run it just on those metrics alone, it doesn't really seem worth it to me. But Uber has made up for it by offering incentives, which is where surge pricing comes in for you as a customer to subsidize Uber's subsidy with driver incentives. And let me say that again. So Uber is subsidizing drivers right now so that there's value for them and earnings as a delivery driver for Uber Eats. And now Uber is instituting surge pricing for the customer to subsidize Uber. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Pretty interesting, isn't it? So let's just continue. So that's why we're asking Uber Eats customers. They're asking you. So remember, I guess if they're asking you, you can say no. I mean, they're not saying it's going to happen. They're saying they're asking. But I think what Uber's really saying is that they're instituting, and they are going to make it happen, right? So, but I think it's a nice way of saying it, that they're asking their customers. So that's why we're asking Uber Eats customers in select cities, it's a trial basis now, to pay more for delivery when they order from restaurants in areas where demand is high but delivery partners are scarce. Supply and demand in the world of Uber equals surge pricing. I think it's fair to say that. An hour below the restaurant will notify users, blah, blah, blah. The exact amount appears above the menu and as a separate line item. You can read this in Uber Newsroom. There'll be a link in the description below. But I want to get down to here. The extra money from these orders goes towards financial incentives for delivery partners, as well as our other operational costs. So in other words, you customers for Uber Eats, you have to subsidize Uber in order for them to subsidize the drivers and or delivery partners, and you have to also contribute to offsetting, some of their operational costs. Now that's what I call a shared economy. That's the way to do it, and Uber's got it right. I mean, everybody should be pitching in to support this $68 billion behemoth. Okay, I'm being a little sarcastic, but I think you're kind of with me here. It does seem pretty interesting. These partner incentives look at the past patterns and aim to predict where and when there'll be high demand and encourage more people to get on the road in these locations. All right, well that's it, folks. I'm not gonna go on it any further, but let's just talk about how it works. So I'm gonna show you guys the driver app, right? So right now, this is the Uber Eats app. I've signed into Uber Eats. And as you can see, there's something here that looks like kind of surge. We see the surge multipliers, right? The 1.5, the 1.4, another 1.4. This is in northern San Francisco, the North Bay. And these are incentives that Uber is offering drivers to encourage them, encourage their delivery partners to get out there on the road and meet the growing demand. So it's a fixed kind of surge / incentives. They're only available during certain times. They do fluctuate, and there's somewhat of a schedule. Here's an additional incentive. For example, drive 20 trips, make 80. I will be driving this evening after 5. What time is it now? I've got a few hours to chill out and do some more videos. But as you can see, there's a schedule here. And, it lets a driver know what are this is called boost. It's not called surge. It's a boost incentive. Where the boost incentives are and what those amounts and multipliers are going to be. And this is what's pretty much, I would believe, is going to apply to the additional costs that Uber is asking, nicely asking, of course, their customers to contribute to the company. So, for example, let's say, and I can't be exactly sure, but I'm thinking this is pretty much how it's going to work. Let's say that a driver picks up an order in the 1.5 area here. And remember, let's just use the delivery fee as a base cost for a customer. It's $4.99. Let's just call it $5 to simplify things, okay? So there's not enough supply in this area, so there's going to be a boost for the drivers to encourage drivers to get out there, and then of course that's going to be the additional fee that the customer is going to pay. So the 1.5 times $5, which is somewhat of a surge metric, is going to come out to $7.50 as a fee, total fee, for the customer, or an additional $2.50. So I think Uber mentions that they're going to kind of itemize things. So you'll have the cost of the food plus the fee plus the boost or surge additional fee plus tax plus the total. So you're going to go from a $20 food delivery to like $31 or something like that. So you'll be paying anywhere from maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. It depends on the cost of the food and the total or the net cost of the food plus applicable fees. Your base customer fee, as well as the boost or surge fee, and then of course tax. And at this point, you're definitely not going to give a partner or delivery driver a tip, because you kind of just did. But you didn't, because Uber was subsidizing it before, but now you're subsidizing Uber. In any case, there's going to be some additional costs. Now, that sounds. I don't think I will be ordering Uber Eats for myself. A, I have a car, and B, I'm not going to be sitting around watching TV, really wanting the luxury of having somebody deliver food to my door and pay an additional $10 on a $20 food order. It just makes absolutely no sense to me. But I make up a very small fraction of Uber's market in terms of what makes sense. Okay, so there's going to be a market, even with these additional costs. There's going to be a ton, and I mean just a ton, that are going to continue to use the service because of the on-demand factor, the convenience. This is what Uber X is all about, Uber Pool. It's, in this case, it's about convenience and cost, but the other way around. The costs are so cheap. Of course, most people think that, listen, the cheaper it is, the more you're going to use it. So at the end of the day, you could be financing a car every month. In any case, that's it. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to like, comment, and share this article. I'd love to get some feedback from you guys if you're a customer out there. By the way, there's going to be a promo code down there if you're interested in becoming a new Uber Eats customer. It's $15. You can't go wrong. If you want to be a driver, the money is not that bad with the subsidies and the incentives. Drivers are not doing too bad. As you can see, again, Show you some of my promotions here. $20 trips, make an extra 80. You've got these surge and or boost multipliers. Depends on the city. There's different incentives, hourly guarantees. It depends on the driver. So, but it could be it could be valuable to you. It's still definitely going to be valuable to customers. As a driver, I think with the multipliers, it's definitely going to help to incentivize drivers, put that extra money in their pocket, to offset what they might get without an incentive, which may not be worth actually getting out there and being an Uber Eats partner. So I think collectively, altogether, this might not be a bad plan, and I don't think customers are going to be too upset or be too concerned about paying the extra money. They're already used to doing that with Uber Pool and Uber X. I see it as kind of not, roughing them around the edges too much. It'll be something that they'll acclimate to, get used to, and probably somewhere in the near future, everybody will be doing it. If you go to Starbucks and order, there might be some surge pricing to your Starbucks coffee. Speaking of which, let me take a sip of my once hot but now iced coffee and say goodbye. This is Mike Dean with the Rideshare Report. Thanks for joining me. Remember, Uber On, Lyft Off, and Uber Eats, or something like that. Remember who loves you. Peace, drive safe, be safe, and have a great day. I'm out.